Tell me where to go or something. Yeah. Tell me where to sit. Good, yeah.
How's it going, Victor?
Good, Patrick, how are you doing?
Good.
You're surviving with one arm?
Yeah. One eye bandage.
Yeah.
No, but thank you. Learning all the tricks of the trade.
Right.
How are you?
Article is good.
I'm fine.
So honestly, on this, right? Yeah, a couple of
Yeah, I have a couple.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, the original list of covers, yeah, where we're at.
It looks nice in the paper.
Is it look nice? Yeah, this is like so nice.
Doing such a nice job.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's here.
I know, so the wind was incredible last night
Yeah.
and during the day, so Caitlin and Nick lost power.
Oh, dear.
So they came out,
baby.
we had a slumber party, well, not slumber party, he was sleeping in an old bedroom. Yeah. And with a little baby, yeah, so we got some extra time.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, Perry Farm was out yesterday.
yeah, they did this morning, so.
Perry Farm was out yesterday.
Do they have Jeff Fisher text at 7 a.m.? No,
That's
but they got it back on. It was a big line that went down right almost on the corner of Cemetery and Lake. And they took out Tamarack was all out. So that was,
Yeah.
so they, but they, by 9 o'clock, we were back up. That was great. That was pretty good.
Well, are you across the street here, or are
Yeah,
you?
here we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
But I work at Perry Farm.
Oh, yeah.
And so they were, and I got one of the people on the text me when
Yeah.
the fire.
Caitlin lives right up there.
Who does?
Caitlin.
Oh.
And Nick are on Houston, just. up
Oh,
Cemetery,
okay. Yeah.
like, past, where Bolton's live, and then there's that house that Evan used to have, that kind of a French Normandy kind of looking house, and then the next to that, thing, kind of on top
So
of
by
the hill.
K-frame.
Yeah,
she's
she's
up
up further up the road.
Yeah, and that side went out, but where Joni St. John lives, you know where Joni lives?
Yeah.
those names.
She didn't go
She
out.
was okay.
So that line must run that side. The church was out, Perry Farm was out.
So if you're on the same circuit, Perry Farm, I thought they're gonna be,
Yeah, that's,
or she's on the same circuit. that'd be
yeah,
high
they're on
priority.
the north side of Houston, I guess that would be north. I
That
guess.
must have been a big line when we dug that whole area went out.
Yeah,
No, we didn't. We flickered though once or so, which is weird for us. We like never lose power down here. Hardly ever.
we
Unless
don't
somebody,
either. We
like
don't
knocks
either.
out a huge transformer.
Where do you live, Patrick?
We're on Arbor Street on the other side of the lake, north lake.
Yeah.
Did you have lose power? I think it flickered for a second.
Flickered, yeah.
We didn't even get a flicker. We can usually tell when the clocks are.
Yeah,
flashing,
exactly.
or we have a cabinet where the lights will go on when the power goes out for a second. It's really weird. Yeah, that's an indication
That's how
that
you
something
know.
just happened. We didn't even have that. And we've been really lucky. It's- I
Yeah,
don't know why we hardly ever lose the power.
it was wild. I went down to Leafly yesterday morning before I went to work, so it's like the 8. And one of the big boatways that, you know, they pull out of the water and set,
Yeah.
was rolling around in the water. And I was like, I stopped right here and I said, probably somebody needs to go get that out of the middle, because it was still moving, you know, there was so much wind. But this big, it was a big.
Thank God they emptied it today, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
Finally.
it was wild.
Well, we lost a big tree in front of our office.
Oh, did you?
When we built the office, we put in some pine trees just to give a little bit of privacy behind, from the road. And, yesterday, and there's this giant 30-foot pine that had gone down, but it didn't hit the building, fortunately. I mean, it was that close, it could have. but it didn't. Big tree.
We'll go with pines.
Hmm.
We'll go with the pines.
Yeah.
They're social.
We had a long, many years ago in the backyard over here, we had a Carpathian walnut, really old, I mean, Pontiac's, they probably planted it 50 or 60 years.
I'm familiar with that.
Carpathian walnut.
No.
It was, I had never heard of it.
That's a black one.
We just made this connection. And Jim was here, a friend who rented, we were in Snowman, so this was years ago. And he called us once and said, well, I walked out my door, it was still dark. And I walked out my door and I ran into a branch and it had dropped right between his truck and his house. And it's both, wow, and it was
Up
a,
above.
they were, it was a good sized tree, it was heavy. It was long. So. Yeah.
No, Mark's not teaching on it anymore, is he?
No,
He's not doing that holiday.
oh gosh, kids were in middle school.
Oh, is that long?
Yeah, long
I remember when he went out there every year.
20
That's where
years.
I met Michael and.
No, we do that.
Yeah.
Irish cow with everything. You've got a lot of big trees too.
Yeah, I went to work my way of my mom's, and there was only one big bough down. Away from it, and the watering can was out to take off, and her, she's an ornamental blue heron thing that was trying to fly. Yeah, putting a bunch of stuff, the mat, doormat at the next door house, and inside. But this picked up a lot of stuff. The fun thing at the boat shop yesterday is that upstairs, the water in the toilets was sloshing. Seriously, because of the water and because of the waves and stuff. Yeah. The wind hitting the building. That
Like you're on a boat.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Yeah, that was.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah, trying to use the toilet when it's rough is an adventure.
Well, just even being on a boat.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me seasick. So
Yeah.
scary.
Especially that small one.
Like 15 foot seas and all that. It's kind of fun at first. I don't realize that they only go out there. There's a reason for that. 'Cause they're
Yeah.
not smarter than you are.
Telling her yesterday, I looked out at that wind and I thought, no, I'm glad this didn't happen earlier in the season because nobody's boat is in the water, so we have to worry about it. What idiot is gonna go out there in this, because somebody will, you know, they'll go out on a coiling board or.
There was a. I just like to see stories of distress.
My daughter's
Surface.
she was up at Michigan Tech, married her best friend. He surfed in the winter on Lake Superior.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are people that
And
do that.
they'd send pictures of him and he would have like ice and a beard out to here.
Is that Super Dan? And he's not that guy.
No, no.
That guy's crazy. He's on Marquette and
Yeah.
he's all over the place, you know, on social doing that. And he's actually really obnoxious. He's not a very nice person. Merle used to talk to him. Yeah, and that's her, so. And he's just doing that after he realized how.
Anybody on today?
Savannah said from the high school, she was going to try to get on a Zoom because they're not letting her out of school today. So she says she's going to try to get on a Zoom. So we'll see. Just sent her the link. But Sue, whenever you're ready, your last ruha.
yeah, we'll call the meeting to order and we'll start with a roll call.
Yes, Sue Stewart,
Here,
Karen Stroud Donnelly,
yes.
Dana Mulder, Patrick Wise,
Here.
and Nancy Rondell.
Great, we've got the meeting minutes from last meeting. Are there any corrections?
It's good to me and Victor, you do really nice minutes. I just want to kind of.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, size.
I think a motion. To approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Do we have any board communication?
I do have one suggestion is that we move up the thank you, Sue, and get cake now while we have
Yeah.
a meeting. It's a chocolate cake, so if you guys want to go get a slice, yeah. Sue said her favorite.
You don't like chocolate.
I did not make it. D&W made it, but they do make good cakes. And so the thank you, Sue, was under new business, but I do want to say we got to chat. Savannah cannot hear anything. Hold on. Let's see. Savannah, can you hear us now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We will miss you.
Probably gonna come sit in anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I do sit in on my sister's board meetings in Charlotte.
Hmm. Microphone.
Yeah.
Savannah, can you hear us? No, well, for some reason she can't hear us. So hopefully our thing is recording well, but so Sue was one of the original tree board members. Before, when this was just even a thought of becoming a committee back in 2012 and 2013. And it really started just as an informal group wanting to, that council or city staff needed help advising on, bluff policy issues and trimming requests and some planting requests. And they met, and if Sue probably knows better than I do, but they met informally and infrequently, only as needed. So they got the ground running on a lot of this stuff. And now we're a formal board, and so a lot of that has to do with Sue and the others that were on the board, Gao and Mark and Jeff Granger. But so we should really appreciate Sue. We want her to stay some longer, but
You can always come back.
she can always come back.
What's fun about that original board is that with both me and Gal on the board, Gal and I both, Gal's father and my father were two of the original, two of the founders of the Little Traverse Conservancy,
Mm,
and worked together on controlling housing to try to save wild places up here for many years.
Savannah, can you hear us?
A while in school and then he went away.
Yeah, I see him all the time.
Okay.
Tree board, which is nice.
Have you heard Charlie about him sitting on a tree?
He is, yeah. Yeah. My sister hears from him a lot because they're trying to get a tree board going in one city. So they're working together.
We'll come back to, they make it official, they become a tree city.
Well, I'll certainly help you celebrate, you the cake and everything.
Yeah, 'cause that's a big deal. I mean, so you're in the middle of the.
Send us over the picture and I'll show. It'd be fun to bring.
For some reason, Savannah cannot hear us.
It would. She's missing out on such,
You're- Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, that's a nice size piece too. Yeah, thanks. I probably will.
Okay. You want big, medium?
Take a piece and you have the rest. Okay. So can I put a plug in to, we need another tree board.
Yes.
So if anybody knows of someone that is interested, it would be really good if we have another. We really need
Okay. No, talk to you about it.
Yeah, that would be great.
The video.
Yeah, no, but
Just
just,
clips. but-
you can either email me or Rick, obviously Victor.
Yes.
I'd be actually in the better, because council this Monday is filling all the 20, whatever there are.
Yeah, 15 slots. Yep.
So it would just be great.
And of course, if we don't get anyone, we can always, I mean, it's not like they don't apply by tomorrow, they can't go on, but we're really trying to get them.
We have no candidates.
Do we what?
Nobody's.
Not for the tree board, no.
I wonder, maybe we should want to bring this up, but I know we restrict members on the board. from residents, But I know we talked before about maybe expanding that outwards, because we know a number of people that potentially could serve because of their experience and knowledge, but they live outside the area.
I did.
That's a council, yeah.
Certainly, but I feel pretty strongly about. No, but I feel pretty strongly about residents on our city committees. You know, Our commission's a little different because it has a different topics. I feel like people advising and making decisions in city, which is only the really country for the kids. Really should. be residents.
The other one is probably
Yeah, yeah, and that's a tough one, because this committee really needs to plan ahead and do things for them. And a few of them it's more workable than that's me. That's my.
You can miss a third, I think, excuse. I mean, but it's very, I mean, the amount you can miss is very, what should I say? It's not enforced in the sense that council and the boards, since I've been here, I've never been like, this person has missed this many meetings, they're out of here. You know, like it's been more, I mean, obviously COVID has happened and things like that, but it's up to council and the board to say, all right, you know, this person's missed too many. We want to consider removing them. It's kind of, it seems heartless thing to do, but it's also, you know, when there's a lot of people applying for a board, then it makes sense to do that. But when there's no one that's can serve on the board, then maybe you're just like, well, they've missed a few meetings.
And
But
that's what it is. I think that's why, you know, I think that's why we've been so lucky.
Yeah.
Been so lucky. But now we have a lot of folks volunteering to be on a lot of committees. So people look at meetings. Like, you know, it's a commitment.
It is a commitment. Yeah, yeah.
Nancy, I wonder if this brings in people or city committees who don't live in the city but work in the city.
Well, there are some DDA, you don't have to be a resident. There's more than 100 people that live in downtown, and then I think one.
Mhm.
Harbor Commission, you don't, there's a percentage that you don't. Planning Commission, 2 out of the 9, am I right?
up to 2 out of the 9 can be.
Don't have to be residents. So there is some way, on certain committees, there's some way.
I would think on tree board, you could have one position that could be someone who, you know, is available for meetings, or you could make it works in the city.
Perhaps.
What I'm thinking of is, you know, that getting somebody with the tree expertise, usually that's somebody in the business. And if they're in the business and they're doing landscaping work in Harbor Springs, maybe hard pressed to say that person has less, brings less to the advisory board than someone who's a resident but doesn't know very much. And the tree board is well served by having experts on the board.
There's another option, and I think that's a good point, that you get an expert, make a position, or I know it's out there, but create a position just for an alternate that can be, doesn't have to be within the city limits, and that alternate can be from a township and then serve as a member until, you know, a member is found. So there's different ways to look at it.
Could they be a member of not have voting rights? I think that might. be
That's
a
like
great
Savannah, you know.
Incentive to be a member.
Well, then you also run into a problem, you've got a equal number, if you've got 5 on the board and 1 on the board, you've got a tie, you know, which in general you try to avoid. Right?
Yeah.
I think, I understand what you're saying about excellence, and I understand that, but I also think we have to ask what the school board is for. We have an arborist. We have some people that know, I certainly know nothing about trees. And I think there's some merit to somebody that isn't necessarily an expert on exactly on trees, but can look at a different perspective from just the residents. So I understand what you're saying, Lauren. I'm certainly open. You know,
Well, we'll see if we get anyone. I mean, obviously we can still conduct business with 4 people. It's not impossible. I mean, it's 3 people, we can still have a tree board. So it just, you know, could make it harder in the future, but let's just look for someone. And if we can't find anyone, I'll go to council and tell them, hey, this is the situation we're in. And sometimes we get in that situation. We've been in the situation historically, I think, with the ZBA, because really not many people, it's the least sexy of the planning zoning boards.
always mad.
And no one wants to go on the Z. And the Board of Review is also one that, even though it only meets a couple times a year, many people don't want to be involved with assessments and taxes, you know, so. The ones that people really want to be on are Planning Commission, Harbor Commission, DDA, and apparently now Park Sports. So the fun topics. But all right, well, that's, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, we're not trying to peer pressure Sue into staying by doing this. Yeah.
I do have to leave. I will leave on Monday. Yeah, never.
So D&W does have good cakes. Yeah. Yeah, so I like. All right, let me put this. So apparently Savannah still cannot hear us. I don't know if that's me or her end because everything's working on my end. So I see my little microphone, the green thing moving up top. So, but all right, that's unfortunate. But Sue, if you want to move on, public comment.
So, yeah. Old business. Looks like the next tree corner topic. I'm not sure what that.
Oh, the article, the tree.
Oh, got it.
I think we call it the tree corner, not the tree canopy, right?
Right.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's, okay, it's a tree canopy, okay, canopy is what it is, sorry, I just said the wrong name for it. So, yeah, that's, I looked at, the funny thing about this was, I was looking at our goals, and, part of our goals for this year and early next year, one of them was, education and outreach, and I think this checks off that goal, so continuing of doing this goal, so I think as we continually, educate the public about, their rights, their responsibilities and tree issues. This will continue covering that. So, and I imagine we keep this going throughout the year, as like on the agenda that we can always just have 5-10 minutes. Just, yeah, it should.
I give you mine.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
No, also, this is what.
Oh,
Canopy piece in the paper looks terrific. I really like the way it fits the paper too. It's a nice addition to the paper. It's the right length. That's the kind of thing people pick up for the like.
Cheap. So this is the original paper that I had given to everybody about ideas I had, tried to match it later to the tree plan, the contents of the tree plan. And so then I highlighted originally what things I thought we could cover as topics. So the yellow highlighted ones that are scratched off are the ones that we have covered, at least to some degree. It's really helpful. And then the yellow ones that are not crossed out are ideas for the next future articles. So I want to get some ideas from everybody as to where we might move next, following on the last article where we talked about property owners and what trees are theirs, and all that we really want to cover. So then is there something we can do to follow on, and something that's more seasonal in the winter, like where we are right now? There's not a whole lot you can do about trees right now. Like that.
The only thing that I think that maybe because it's January, wintertime is a little more going on, is maybe do a little more educating about some of the stuff in our tree plan. Some taking out some of those things, or is that too?
Or that new form that you developed.
Oh, Friends of the Trees. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Friends of the Trees. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good, Dana.
Maintenance, yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Well, there's the question, each of our articles starts with a question. Why do trees need?
It also might be a great place to put under the tree.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
We're
yep.
kind of in that in between of days.
Good point.
Speaking of needing maintenance.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Speaking of maintenance.
Maybe start something clever. Money doesn't grow on trees, but they need. No, I'm just, I don't know.
How about two questions? Why do trees need maintenance? And what does this city tree board do?
Yeah. Something like then, hey, you have an opportunity
Mhm.
to join us. So,
Oh, yeah, this could be recruitment.
Yeah, that's what Nancy was getting at. Yeah.
And
Well-
emphasize that you don't need to have expertise for this, but it's interest and enthusiasm we're looking for.
And we can, obviously it's gonna be a few weeks before we submit this article because we already have the December's one in. It can be anytime in January. So if in 2 weeks we get someone to apply, we can just edit it off of our document saying, hey, but it's good for recruitment.
Welcome, so-and-so.
Yes.
You know, that would also be a good
Oh, yeah.
shout out.
And maybe Karen, a goodbye for Sue, be like, just a thank you, like, thanks Sue for your service. Doesn't have to be as excellent of an article as she wrote for her dad in the Little Traverse Conservancy magazine, but just a couple sentences would be nice.
That was Gau's family with the other.
Yeah, I knew that. This is Kate,
Yeah.
my daughter.
Yeah. 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 It's really awesome. It's a fun thing.
I mean,
Yeah. it is.
about 60-some thousand acres that they manage, or how many
Yeah.
preserves, just under 300 preserves, and all of the counties in the city and northern Florida. It's a really well respected organization.
Mm. I had someone call me from downstate asking about how they can replicate what the Conservancy is doing here. And I obviously pointed them to the Conservancy, but they wanted to do, I think they were in the Beverly Hills area.
Oh.
Yeah, so they wanted to, anyway, pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of conservancies in the state, in the country, but definitely I think that'll be 220.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It's like,
Oh, it's the whole group of them.
yeah.
It's one of those dream team.
Yes.
Yep. Well, that looks good for the next article. So yeah, looks like we got. Oh, yeah.
A couple of tags. One tag would be value of trees for wildlife, and then feature a tree that feeds birds and so forth. Another idea would be interesting trees, like the birch, and something like that. So one thing that would tick both of those would be crabapple.
It's a good one.
You can grow crabapple in the winter and not even have an expert eye for trees and see.
Yeah, what it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It has wildlife value, and it actually is super hard up here. Maybe that one's big birch.
Crab, apple, birch.
What do you got?
Yeah.
Crabapple, yeah. I'll take a picture of that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I wrote it down on my iPhone. Oh, yeah. We should.
So it looks like it is Savannah's because we're on YouTube and I can hear it when I put my volume up.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah. Yep. So all right. Cool. Thanks, Karen. Everyone. The next item, Sue.
Tree City USA update on Arbor Fest 2022.
Yeah, so for Tree City USA update, obviously I submitted back in September when they opened it up for applications, and I gave them a call and it says it's still under state review. So, it's been a few months, but I'll call again in the new year. I look on the online portal and it also says pending forester review. So,
I think they are short staffed.
okay, all right.
I think we tried to contact that agency about something recently, and before the actual help portion of the call started, there was a half hour of expressing frustration on how few people they have trying to do how big a workload, retirement's not filled. And so.
Okay. Well, that's at least assuring that it's not our then application itself that's holding us up. So probably
the weekend of the pot, the set of applications.
yeah, because I'm pretty sure we met all the standards from when I reviewed it with Ben. So, but all right, so that's just a quick update that you haven't heard from me yet because we just have no update there. Yep. Which would lead into the Arbor Day Fest for 2022, which is what I was going to propose is we really look at our calendar right now and see when do we want to do that. It's
What was their date last year, Victor?
it was May, June.
No, it was May.
It was May. It was like May 8th. It's like Yeah, it was like May 18th, May 20th, because I was not here. I was on vacation, so.
I don't think that's a bad time, because we're not bringing a shovel on the ground.
I did get a request by someone, if we could combine it with an Earth Day celebration, and I don't, is that,
That's the date.
that's what I'm gonna search right now. It was a week before, it was a week,
Weekend.
wasn't the weekend before?
I think, no, that's right, it was the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. I think
Oh.
We did,
Farmer's Market
we
yeah.
were gonna do it, yeah, because
Yeah.
farmer's market was
It's-
going.
started, I think. Let's see, Earth Day 2022.
It's usually in April, I think.
Yes, it usually is. April 22nd was a Friday. I see that's a Friday, you know, so I guess it just depends. I mean, that was just I mean, we could still do it a weekend celebration. It was just a recommendation. Someone thought about putting it together with Earth Day. If the city would do a general Earth Day festival and then like Earth Day celebration thing, you know. So I don't know. I don't think
22nd.
his,
That's it. I mean,
yeah.
that's an awkward date.
Want to, is Memorial Day weekend good, or should we try to avoid a holiday weekend? I mean, with the flip, I think we weighed this last time. One of it was like, you know, there'll be, you know, it's not the Monday, so people will still be coming up here on a Saturday. More people are coming than are leaving town.
Some people come to open up the cottages.
Yeah.
Or they're here.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this isn't to be set in stone, it's just tentative, but so we have something to work toward.
So that would be
But
the
does
20th.
farmer's market open? Is it that weekend?
It's that, it's usually Memorial Day weekend, yeah.
Let's do it then. I think that was really helpful for them to give us.
So it would be May 28th.
Is that Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
I'd just like to do this out there that I'm thinking about possibly, just an idea of public art collaboration. Piece that maybe will coincide with that, to bring more involvement and attention. But I'm not standing for another commitment yet today. It is something that I'm very thought to. And so I can continue that, so whatever date. People come out and get them involved.
So what are you thinking, what would that involve?
Well, I don't have it all fleshed out yet, but I want it to be something that will attract.
Well, our chance of decent weather is better in late May than any time before.
Yeah.
And then our other thing to figure out is where.
Is where, did you say?
Because here we did it this year, it made sense because we were planting the trees there. Or that was a good spot for it. I mean, do we want to do something? We could, even though it's not in the main drag, but Kiwanis Park has wonderful trails, and we could maybe do like a tree walk or something like that, and have maybe a point out species and.
I think we have to work harder at telling people where it is and pointing them up there. It's not a park that everybody knows about it. They're kind of casual visitors, but it's a great park to point people toward for trees.
Yeah.
So this is an idea too, is that maybe we don't have to plant a whole bunch of trees.
It is.
No.
Maybe it's more like Victor was saying, go for a nice walk and.
Yeah.
Much simpler not to have to deal with another organization during something that we're trying, that was what, it was those two things overlapping that really got.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it was convenient, but it also became a lot of work. But I mean, and we could think about it this way, you know, it doesn't have to be the same from year to year. Each tree, each Arbor Day Fest can be have a different theme, you know, and it could switch it from park to park or, yeah, I mean,
That would be a-
different areas of town.
Yeah,
And when we get our boardwalk back, maybe we can do a boardwalk thing as well. I mean,
and maybe like if Marina Park, not this year, but maybe there'd be something we wanted to plant down there.
mhm. Yep.
Where people want trees there.
Yeah.
Well, it's just an example. Yeah.
Example, you know, there's parks, a lot of people don't even know Zorn Park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Zorn Park would be great too.
yeah.
If we wanted to do activities at Kiwanis Park that involve going in the woods, Molly Ames Baker would be a
Yep.
good person to
Yep.
talk with, or, you know, or the what kinds of things different age people
Like
like to do and how much fits into this much time.
I think Kiwanis sounds like more fun, just what I thought, if you're featuring Kiwanis for Winterfest this year. January.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wonder, I think Kiwanis sounds like a lot more fun than doing it at Zoll, but if we could think of something fun to do at Zoll.
Zorn, yeah.
But I think Kiwanis might be good in the spring. I think it's also really cold by the water. It's in the spring for sure.
Well, here's the thing, I don't know if you're aware, if Rachel was able to be on a call, but I was on a webinar yesterday, put on by the Michigan Economic Development Board. And grant monies that are now becoming available from the state, from the, COVID impacts and so on. And there were a lot of questions that were raised about what can you use the money for? It's really revitalization projects, like rebuilding old buildings or trying to do something more instead of central city areas or whatever. And somebody asked the question, well, can it be used for parks? So I immediately thought of Kiwanis Park. We want to redo that building.
Mhm.
And we want to make something more of that park. People always kind of forget about it. So I don't know if that's something that the city would pursue in terms of a grant application, but if that was something that, would, be part of this whole thing, like this is, you wouldn't know if you got funds for a while, but just trying to create some
Buzz.
buzz
Yeah,
about Kiwanis
So
Park.
maybe this is
Yeah.
the year of buzz for Kiwanis.
Yeah.
We have Winterfest there, we have Arbor Day.
Yeah.
Maybe we can pull off a grant.
And we want to redo that building. We talked about the need to update that building.
It's 50 years old,
and the
yeah.
grounds and so on. And I think the building update would certainly fit into the renovation, but anyway, it just.
No, it's a good point. I think there's long-term, I think, and that's also obviously be determined by a Parks Board input and advice to council, but long-term, from a staff perspective, Kiwanis Park is like the local park, where people use it summer, winter time, and having that revitalized does a lot for the locals. So putting an emphasis on that, not showing that we're not just focusing on, the waterfront parks where, for the visitors, but also for that. And maybe this is the year to tie it in. Let's just settle on a date and then think about locations, let's Kiwanis Park. And if there is Zorn Park's a good idea, obviously always the benefit there is it's farmers market weekend. There's a bunch of people right there. So if you have it at Zorn Park, you always have people there, but we still got people here, even though it was a little further out. We still have our sign that we have, the banner that we bought. So maybe let's settle on a day, the 28th, and then just think about the pros and cons of what location. And then maybe in February, March, we can start advertising for it and planning for it and advertising for it.
Well, especially if there's a winter fest, it can be at Kiwanis Park. Arbor Day, and next again at Kiwanis Park. Yeah.
I think wherever we do it, though, it would be nice to have the farmers market presence, and I think we again could order seedings to give out.
Yeah, we can talk about those details. Yeah.
Karen, a side comment, if I were going after funding for something like parks from that agency, I think I would put it as green infrastructure, rebuilding green infrastructure.
Yep.
Yeah. And package it with some other drainage or, stormwater improvement.
Right. There's, MEDC's got regional managers, I guess you would say, contact people that, people that want to apply for grants, whatever, can reach out to this group. If it's eligible and qualified. A lot of other grant things that are also going on related to nonprofits that, great, that would be good.
Let me, I guess for our next topic, if we're ready just to move on there is,
Move on to new business, create,
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I'm not sure if this is the place or not. I apologize if I missed some of it. It was something that was brought up in the October meeting. It was announced that the DDA was considering either removing or replacing trees that needed replacing in favor of having less trees on Main Street. And whether the tree board should weigh in on this. And so I was just wondering, is that still a consideration that the DDA was and weighing in?
Yeah, that's a good question, but.
Yeah, I don't get what you're asking. So yes, we're trying to, we have big plans to replace all of the trees. First, we were gonna try to move some of the parks, but it just was not going to be practical. And then, get them kind of move apart in spacing and size and all that. So, tree breaks, we can increase the size of our sidewalks. It was very expensive, and so it had to be tabled. And I think the other thing is the DDA was not able to put funds towards it because we only can put funds towards things that are in our current tax income. So this year, we will be putting together a new plan for the next, I don't know if it's going to be 5 years, but
Mhm.
right. And
It can be as many as you,
it's
yeah.
on it, but, what's come up is there's sidewalks that's so much stuff. And the trees and all that. So what if we did fewer trees? And we've actually started kind of looking at plans to do that. So that is a focus. And that was something to discuss when it comes up with that tree board, like, are we gonna have requirements if we don't use as many trees to put them somewhere else, or, you know, the same way we would treat, you know, like a resident, for example. So,
So I imagine that if any, and that's part of the tree boards, one of the purposes is, to review projects, that involve removing or planting trees. So any kind of, aside from like city staff needing to remove a tree here and there, any kind of project that's going to alter the landscape is going to come to tree board for tree board's input before it goes to DDA or council approval. So that will come to us.
If we know that
Yeah.
we'll come around again.
Yep.
sometime next year, and then this would be a project for maybe the year after this.
Yeah. It could be, yep. And Dana, to speak of that, the clutter on the street, just, if we're going with paid parking, there may be kiosks as well on the street. So that'll just add to perhaps a need to remove some trees in certain locations as well. So just FYI, there is, going to be more topic discussion on both of those, but yeah. All right.
Good to know.
Yep. Yes. Someone reads them. Even if it's their own tree board member. All right. Yeah. So the next topic, Sue, Chair, was to just start thinking again about planting locations. And our goal this year is not to try to plant new trees, right? Our goal is, to keep up with the maintenance. But of course, we can't control when we receive donations for trees. So it's just I think what we've talked about in general was let's have a go-to spots where we want to plant trees so we don't spend, a lot of time during a meeting being like, all right, we got this tree request, where we're going to plant. We now have our species, a list of species, preferred species, et cetera. So I think locations are probably another point of topic. We did Layton Park. We got, I think, 6 in. Yep.
So do we feel like we got trees donated to the city?
Yeah, because we're up the cost. We up the we upped the donation amount to 600. Yeah, remember. So that was a reason for that. Yep.
I just would hate to put one more tree in without making sure those trees.
Nope. It will be. Of course, depending on staffing situation. Of course, that always, you can't control that in summertime. We had hoped to have 3 part-time parks staff members. We had 1 all summer long.
What parks took over?
Well, we talk about that internally, and there's a lot of trees around the streets. It's a streets function really. The ones at the parks are really a parks board, but that could be discussed. I mean, yeah, depends on. Lucas and Rachel, they work together on a lot of stuff. There's a lot of overlap, so it's not. She takes the trash out in the streets as well as the park, so it's.
In terms of new locations.
Yeah, let me zoom out.
Joe Ford Park. Take that tree out.
Oh yeah, we discussed that, and we aren't there yet, but yes, we discussed taking, and here, yeah, this is a good point. We have actually talked about, thanks for bringing this up, Sue, and Lucas has concerns, and so does Ben, about all these trees that are planted along the IBS building. And back then, obviously, the purpose was for screening and, just beautification there, but they're planted so close to the building that they're just not growing well and uniformly, and they either pose a threat to the building or cars. If there's significant wind damage. So the idea was potentially remove these trees and then plant them a little closer somewhere, like further away from the building a little bit or elsewhere in the park. But the problem with that is we may want to have a reconfiguration of this entire, I mean, that's part of the goal in like 5 to 7 years with the circulation and the parking, add maybe potentially more parking. So those have all been discussed at the Harbor Commission and amongst staff about a need for relooking at this. So
But that one. at the-
right here,
Yeah.
Yep.
The southwest corner,
the dangerous one.
the dangerous one, that.
Roots are,
That gateway right there, we have a gate that we use and we allow everybody to use to go between our property and Ford Park. And last summer, my mother first tripped and fell there, and then my aunt tripped and fell there. And then when we were helping my mother up, there was a gentleman who said, gosh, my wife tripped here just. So we're working with the city to
Yep.
fix that, but what they're tripping over is the roots of the tree, and the roots are sticking up because it's all compacted there, and it's not, none of that was configured to be used the way it's currently used. And I know Ford Park's under discussion for other reasons as well.
But we
That's a-
can take, seems to me we can take some of those trees out regardless.
right, yes. That,
Plant some public trees.
it's one of those same things as we did with here at this park, right? You know, we took them out, you know, obviously they were there for a screen, but so we just want to make sure that we're not removing them without, you know, it was a screening issue, I think was my guess why we put them, the building right here. And that was the intent. I mean, at a certain, when they were at certain height, certain level, they did a better job of it. Now they grew much
and at the
bigger.
time, there was no kayak rack
I'm gonna say, so take them out, put one kayak.
Right.
I guess that's another discussion. No, I get, I know, yeah, I know.
It's a better use of space than trees that are undermining the building.
Yeah.
Roots that people trip over. Well, I have a kayak. Yeah.
And when I was in the San Juan Islands in September, October, whenever it was, I was in one town that had all these really cool kayak runs. I know this is not the time for this discussion, you know, just
Yeah.
like, so, but they were like freestanding and they're perpendicular to the, you know what I mean? They're perpendicular to the building, so
Instead of
for
the
high
kayak on
density.
front end
Yeah.
rather than.
Yeah, exactly. So they were, you know, facing out towards, you know, where the parking was, and they could just put a lot more kayaks in that space as opposed to how they're gonna,
Mm,
you know, parallel to the building. And my kayak sits like kind of high, so I
Right.
kind of go over the tree roots and try not to hit a tree on the way because it's a 60-foot kayak. whatever,
Well, if it's
you
a
know.
safety issue, obviously, that city needs to.
Right.
Well, are there other places in town other than parks?
I thought about two approaches, just on a general basis. Do we want to have some type of street tree planting design? Like where we can pick our main routes and make sure that we have trees along. That's one idea. The other idea is the shady neighborhood idea. Do you want a shady neighborhood? We all love trees, but
Well, I like your first idea because we have a couple main corridors, right? One is Main Street, the other, you know, Lake Street, you know, so our, I mean, other ones as well, but, you know, Bluff Drive, but they tend to have already, depends on what side.
Yeah.
And trees help slow down a little traffic and we have kids walking there. I mean, I think maybe our focus could be Lake Street as for this year if we get tree plantings. State Street, which part?
Which part of?
No, I'm sorry, south of Lake, between Lake and down.
Okay, right here. Yep. Yeah, there's Lake Street and here's, yeah, right here. So there's M119 that goes up this way. There's Bluff Drive. So between Bluff and Lake.
Yeah, so I know there's some wires involved, but maybe this would be like do something a little different, do like ornamental trees, like what if we had that was very.
Yeah, we have,
Where is the city's right of way on the west side of that street, next to the sidewalk?
okay, yeah, right here.
That's right.
So we do have, you know,
Narrow.
33 feet, right?
yeah, the medians, I mean, this is a bird's eye view. So let's see. I mean, it's not easy to see in there, but I mean, yeah, so this would be our right of way to plant the tree right here, in these areas.
On the west side.
On the west side, yes.
Original tree would not have such extensive roots that every project certainly could use them.
You're right. I mean, this entire west side doesn't have any, I mean, for the most part.
That's also a place where you can commute from one lot to another, but some of those houses have a good vista.
Yep.
One direction.
And then you have to reasonably shade trees is so they're not bumping cars, trucks, and et cetera. But there are like they shade crab apples that.
Right. No, and we can look at it, but if we want to focus on State Street, just so we have a plan, at least that, let's maybe this year, any donations we get, look at State Street first and then Lake Street second as, so yeah, I think that's fair.
still think Harbor Street, though. So that's quite a-
I don't think we're gonna get that many right now. I don't think we're gonna get that many donations.
Yeah, yeah. So, looking up myself, of course, but Ann Street has become a more popular corridor. I mean, we've seen a lot more traffic.
Right here.
Before avoiding some of the other streets. And there's no sidewalk. And then there really aren't a lot of trees.
Yeah, up to here.
So
Well-
on the south end, there are a lot of, I guess if these were in the.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of like retaining walls right ones down towards the south.
there are,
Yeah, there is. And
but I think there's still plenty. Yeah, let's pick State and Lake Street as first State Lake, and then let's go forward there. Of course, next year I'll reach back out to Ron Fennick because I know he wanted to start talking about, Traverse Street. So then we can have that conversation again next year if he's still interested. If he's not, that's fine.
I think we get less pushback when we have a sidewalk in place.
Right.
So it's very.
Yep,
defined what
it's defined.
Property is as opposed to. like,
Doesn't pose a surprise.
Where is that right away?
Yep.
And not to say we shouldn't do it, but I think like.
No, you're right. That's
it's
true.
easier
It's
when
true.
it's defined that, yeah, beyond the sidewalk is city property.
Absolutely.
I have a question I should maybe know the answer to. Did the Lebanon Park trees get planted?
6 of the 8, because 2 of them were absolutely adamant not to have it there. So we do have 2 other ones that Ben has at his nursery that if we need a plant next year anywhere that we will. So,
Are those 2 of the 8 donated trees?
Yes.
Or are there only 2 donated trees we haven't planted yet?
right.
Question, well, maybe that's a short answer. I know you're not talking about parks, but is there a short answer to why there isn't more in Marina Park? It seems like a ball.
Yeah, so that's been discussed a lot. The short answer is that we don't know yet what we're doing with Marina Park, so we don't want to put trees there until we have a final design of what we're putting there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so from the surveys.
Yep.
From the surveys, there's very nice feeling.
So when we did our landscaping there, we decided to go low for flowers and bushes right now until we have a final plan. So yeah, short answer. Yep. All right. I think that gives us enough to work on for that. Cool. Backup location for next tree board meeting. Oh, sorry.
Bookshop's community room.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Size group, that's easy.
All right. Yeah. That's a good idea. Just we have some stuff that might be going on in that week here. So in this council, so backup location.
Email me if you need.
Okay, definitely we'll do that. Cool. That was easier than I thought. I thought you guys were gonna say outside. No, I'm just joking. But that's another thing, once, we have technically, even though it's closed in the winter time, but if we had a winterized Ford Park building, right, like that has a lot of ample space inside it, Kiwanis Park the building itself has a lot of space inside too. So like, when we look at our parks plan of future, I'm thinking like 5 years from now, but those are other city things we can use, we don't always have the meetings here. I mean, hey, just a thought. Marina Park's a good one too. If they have Wi-Fi, I can do it. We just might not have that camera. What you don't want to do is confuse the public. It's here one day and then it's here. Then you want to make sure, but once in a while, it's good to showcase.
And at the end of the conflict in Irish, I actually have a big news station in my office. Franklin Park.
Okay.
It's a little bit outside
It's important stuff.
Their data, or do we have our schedule?
January 21st. Oh, yeah, we do have a schedule. I should, council's going to approve it at its next meeting. Let me just put that out. It's again, it's third Fridays of the month at noon. Let me get to the tree board. You know, January 21st, February 18th. I saw no dates on here that seemed like they were conflict with holidays or anything. So, of course, we can always cancel a meeting if we need to. But that's our meetings. So that's all I have.
Well, I have to.
I know she has.
So, this is perfect.
All right. Well, Sue,
Yeah, have a good one.
Sue, I wish you had a gavel to close out your, we have one if you need it to close out. the meeting.
Meeting adjourned.
Awesome. All right.
Thanks, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
What are you guys doing for the holidays? What?
And so the day after, and then we go down